Welcome, everyone, to another installment of HACTV. HACTV is how the Haitian American Caucus is still bringing you, the members of our community, vital information and resources. The Haitian American Caucus is a global community development nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide the Haitian communities around the world with access to information and resources that will foster self-development and success. I am your host today, RASHIDI DENSON of PMD Advanced Consulting, and I'm so excited about the topic we will be discussing today. We are talking about women in business. Now, that's a very broad perspective, but what do we want to get into? There's so many facets that we can talk about when it comes to women in business. But what we want to tackle today with our dynamic guest is we want to talk about the mindset, right? We want to dive into get your mind in set. So we're coming and we're letting all the ladies know, get your mind in set with these dynamic women. I am so excited about having NADIA ARISTIDE, the CFO of MAROON Strategist, join us today. NADIA, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good, Rashidi. Glad to be here.
Are you glad to be here, NADIA? It is so exciting. It is so exciting. I'm glad. It's so exciting about having you join this discussion. I could not think of anyone else to do a segment on women in business and not have you on the platform. One of the things I love to do, NADIA, before we get into this discussion and we talk about get your mind in set, right? Because there's a mindset to business. Right. There is a discipline in business, right, and you know all about it. Yes. And so what I would like to do is give you an opportunity, NADIA. Can you just share with our audience who you are? Where do you come from, and what qualifies you to talk about women in business?
Yes, no, absolutely. So my name is NADIA ARISTIDE, born and raised in Brooklyn. My parents are from Haiti, so I'm from Haitian descent. I was raised in, I would say East New York, probably in the 90s. Then grew up, in East New York. And now went to school, got my, education was a big thing in my family, especially from the Caribbean. Haitian parents, they're very big on education. So one of the things that they came here for is opportunity. So that's one of the things that they did push, education. So that's one of the things, that I pushed for myself. And upon doing so, I went into business and finance, got my bachelor's in business management and finance. And then I went back to school and got my MBA in finance. And, my background is pretty much financial planning and analytics, over 15 years doing that for major corporations. And then in 2016, I decided, you know what? I want to do this for myself. I want to become an entrepreneur and put all this effort and energy that I put into the corporations into my own business to help people who look like me, right? And also to help people who want to become entrepreneurs so that they can think about how to pretty much how to make sure that their business is growing in revenue and not be a failure.
Absolutely. Well, NADIA, you gave us a mouthful. I wanted to basically remind all of our audience that this segment is being sponsored by Verizon. And I just wanted to let everybody know that. So NADIA, we got an opportunity to just get a glimpse as you explain some of your background. Now we feel so much more familiar with you. Yes. Everyone's excited about hearing from you. We know that just recently, especially with you having parents who came from Haiti and you being connected to Haiti and this being the Haitian American Caucus platform. Right. I just wanted to point out there, we just got through we're still going through the pandemic, right?
Right.
So we're still going through it. It's had its highs, it's had its lows, and we're still battling with it. But Haiti also just got rocked with an earthquake.
Yes.
And so, but before we start to discuss that, I wanted to kind of harp on the fact that during the pandemic, it did something to people. It woke people up because people had to go back home, Nadia, and they had to now look at their lives, and they had to look at the fact that they were doing these 9 to 5s, and they were putting the energy into other people's work and not theirs. So what can you tell us, Nadia, about why Black women are seeking entrepreneurship in our current society now?
Because Rashidi, once you're gaining money, right? Your economics is from a source, and the source is limited. So when you work a 9 to 5, it's a blessing, right? Because there are a lot of people who want to have a job, right? So we're in the mindset where we should have a job. That's how when I went to college, and the goal while I was in college was, oh man, I can't wait to graduate because I'm going to work for the top financial firm. I was doing all this research. So the mindset was, go to school, get an education, get your degree, and then you got to start researching the companies that you will work for, right? And that was the mindset, and so, but when you get into these companies, right, you're limited as an individual, right?
Wow.
You're limited in terms of yes, they speak about, you should have an opinion, and you will, you'll have an opinion. Yes, you can impact certain things, your own work that you're doing, right? But you're limited in the sense of finances, you're limited in the sense of creativity, because even if you have an opinion, it doesn't mean that your creativity will be taken, right?
Okay.
And you don't have the control, you don't have total control, right, of the decisions that are made, right? So you report into someone, and that someone tells you what to do, how to do it, and if they agree, they agree, and if they don't, they don't. So what the pandemic has done to people, and women specifically, is it shed a light on the fact that, listen, when something is going on from the outside world, it doesn't take much for you to be cut off.
Okay.
Okay. And when I say cut off, I mean cut off financially. Okay.
Wow.
Because once the company decides, a company is a business. So in order for a business to keep running, they have to make sure that whatever that's going on that's outside of their control, in this case, it was COVID, that they're sustainable. Okay. So in order for a company, a business to remain sustainable, they have to have cash flow. And whatever their biggest expenses are, which is staff, right? The biggest expense of a corporation are staff. Okay, it's headcount. And that headcount is you. If you work for a 9 to 5 in a big corporation, you're considered a headcount. They don't lay you off because they don't like you. They lay you off because they need to remain sustainable and they can't afford you. Okay. Wow. And so when they do that, now you're cut off. Now what were we to do? Right. Now, if you were in a 9 to 5, you were either laid off or furloughed, right? And when you were laid off or furloughed, everybody was concerned, right? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So then, the government decided, okay, it took time for the government to unravel what they were going to do, right? So from March to April to May, you still got to pay your rent. Your kids still got to eat. You still have to do different things. You still have expenses. So what are you going to do? So now women are looking for alternative routes, right? Than just to rely on one set of income, which is, your job or 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you have, right? Now, women are looking for alternative routes because they realize I cannot depend on one source of income. I have to diversify, right? And in order for me to diversify, I got to start thinking about what is it that I'm good at? What is it that I can do that nobody else can do like I can do it, right? And being able, and they had time to reflect, because another thing the pandemic has done for us is given us time to reflect. Self-reflection.
Absolutely. Where many people kept saying, I'm so busy and, I'm constantly running to the job, or if they have children or family to take care of, it just seems like they never could find time. But the pandemic said, guess what? This is your opportunity now. Look at what the situation is. Look at how you've been living. And so I believe that there was a statement made, and I catch the gentleman there, I think it was Zig Ziglar, who said, and I don't want to misquote it, but said, work your full-time job, but then work on your passion part-time.
Yes.
Until you can get it to that level. So as I'm listening to you, let's try to coin this within the Black community per se, because we know that there were loans that went out. There was a lot of different things that the government did to help small business and individuals who were stepping out to be entrepreneurs. But it seemed like within the Black community, the resources were not fully understood. And it wasn't everywhere where people understood what to do. And that's where you came in. So can you just talk to that a little bit about some of the things that had transpired and what were some of the things you did to help the Black community, especially women who were starting in business, get a hold of that information?
Absolutely. So I first want to say the resources are there, but within our community, there's a lack of knowledge, right? Okay. There's a lack of information. And so people just didn't know what they had, right? They didn't understand it, right? They hear PPP, EIDEA. Okay, what is that? Okay, yes, PPP, here's the application. Okay, they look at the application. What is that? You know, they need a professional. They need someone to explain, wait a minute, you're a hairdresser? You own your own salon? Oh, wait a minute. Are you a registered business? Do you have your LLC, right? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you a corporation? Oh, yes, I am. Have you paid your taxes? Wow. Yes, I did. Oh, okay, you're eligible for the PPP and you're eligible for the EIDL. Wow. Oh, okay. How do I do this? Okay, I can help you. This is what I'm going to need. I'm going to need this information A, B, C, and D. Submit information A, B, C, and D, and then I will go ahead and submit it on your behalf.
Right.
That easy, right? But there's lack of information, and we need to ask more questions in the community. When you don't understand in our community, when we don't understand something, we need to seek help, seek the knowledge, and don't stop. Don't ever get sick and tired of knowing. Mm-hmm. And don't ever give up because you keep running into a wall.
And Nadia, listen to what you just said, because you was on a roll, and I wanted to just catch a pin in that, because you're dropping so many nuggets and so many jewels, right?
Yeah.
But listen to what you said. I was listening to you, and you can combat it if you can, but I noticed that it don't seem as if it's so much the lack of resources at this point, right? At this stage. Mm-hmm. We are on the platform of the Haitian American Caucus, and y'all are putting out tremendous amounts of information to the community, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the things is, can we say that we're in a place where a lot of people lack resourcefulness?
Yes.
You know, the ability to go out and get it done.
Get it done.
Out there, and it's like that pride, that fear of not trusting, because we're taught to not, in our circles, right, in the Black community, a lot of folks don't trust each other.
Yeah. And you know another thing, Rashidi, it's okay not to know. Okay. Some people just don't want others to know that they didn't know. It's okay not to know. I've been in business. I've been in my profession for over 15 years. I have my own business. I'm growing. I don't know everything.
Right.
Let me tell you. And when I don't know something, I'm never embarrassed to say, can you explain that? I didn't know that. What do you mean by this, that, and the third? This is what you have. Ask questions.
Right.
Ask questions. It's okay not to know.
But asking the questions, one of the things that I had to learn over time was, although you can ask questions, make sure the questions are directed towards the information you're trying to obtain. So when someone comes to you, Nadia, right, your
Mhm.
schedule is tight. You
Yeah, yeah,
work with
yeah.
a lot of clients. You
Yeah.
carve time in for individuals, right? So when I come to you, I can't just shoot the breeze about how was your weekend and what vacation you're thinking about going on. I have to make sure that the questions are in the direction of what we're discussing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, absolutely. So let's say someone wants to sit with me, right? I give 15-minute free consultation. So you have 15 minutes, right?
15 minutes.
At
Okay.
15 minutes, I need to know what is it that you need, what is it that you're trying to do, and what is it that you're trying to accomplish so that you can be successful, right?
Okay.
Or what the problem is, right? So once you know those things, you don't have to shoot the breeze. Hey, Nadia, I'm glad you've taken my this time. This is what I'm working on. I'm working on this, that, and the third. Now, while they're telling me what they're working on, this is when now I start to pinpoint what they need. I start to think of the solution, right? Once you start to tell me what the issue, just tell me what the problem is, what the issue is, what you need help with, right?
Okay.
That's what you start off with, what the problem is, what the issue is, and what you're trying to do. Once I start to hear that, then I begin to direct you in the path that you should go, right? Then once you get that direction, then you decide how much further you want to take it.
Wow.
Right?
So you coach the process.
Yes, I also do that. I do it naturally.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I do it naturally. Then once I get them there, then they have to decide what service they would like. Then I think about who can help them. If I can help you, I will help you. If I can't help you myself, I will direct you to the professional who can help you.
So that means that when I come to you, Nadia,
Mhm.
you're the coach. And that means that you get to see the field in a different way. Because when
Yes.
the coach is looking at the field, the coach is looking at the strategy. The coach is looking at every player. The
Yes.
coach can see things that the player can't see when they're on the field. So when I come to you, I have to submit to
Yes.
your coaching, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
go
It's
ahead.
interesting you said that because I didn't realize I was doing that.
Okay. Okay.
So it's interesting that you pointed that out.
Because I was listening to you and I was saying that if I'm the player, we're gonna get on the field, but I
Right.
can follow the coach's strategy.
Yes.
So sometime maybe the success is stagnated because you're not following the coach's strategy.
Yes. Yes. And everything is strategy, right?
Everything strategy.
Everything is strategy, right?
So I gotta submit. When I come to you, I have to submit to the strategy and the plans and also be obedient to the instructions that you give me, right?
And that's where the shift in mindset comes.
Okay.
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 Now, once you submit and you are listening, then the shift in your mindset starts to change. Okay? Because remember, if you have a static mindset, you're not going to get anywhere. So you need to have that growth mindset because everything that I'm going to tell you, the strategies that I'm going to provide to you is for you to grow, right? And if your mindset is not there, then you need to shift it. Now that you're getting the resources, you're getting the information, shift that mindset so that you can continue to go further. Is it easy? Nothing in life is easy.
Well,
Everything is work. It takes
just breathing is not easy, right?
right? Especially
right.
if anybody went through the COVID, yeah, we all went through the COVID. If you just happen to be COVID positive, you understand that you don't take breathing for granted anymore. You don't take the taste of smell for granted, nor just the sense of smell, the sense of taste. You don't take that for granted. So that was a good one, Rashidi.
That
breathing, yeah, is
Listen, one of the things I want to do before I decide to bring in the other guests is also, and we'll bring you back, Nadia, so don't go anywhere because I want to also close out with both of y'all on it. But I wanted to find out, because we're talking about mindset, and oftentimes you can probably get a bad rep at times when people are not, they're resistant to the coach instructions. And you said you get 15-minute blocks. And to be honest with you, people feel that, I should be able to just share my opinion and just share my heart as long as I want to, but you cannot do that. You can't moonlight in the office for 2 hours with one client because you have a system you have to run. So with that said in mind, what are some of the things you've been through, pressures, and you've had to endure with making sure you're diligent in your position?
Yes, that's a very good question. So, so remember, a 15-minute consultation, when someone sets up a 15-minute consultation, you already know once you're setting it up, it's 15 minutes, right? And then you know that you're coming within that 15 minutes to solve a problem or to get information. So you just have to be ready for that. If I don't respect the 15-minute block, then I won't be efficient, right? And to any successful leader, organization, or business, you have to be efficient, okay?
Absolutely.
And one of the things with me is that as a leader and as an entrepreneur, is efficiency is key for me, right? And so if I need to get things right, I need to make sure things are done correctly and things are done right so that we can win later on. If I notice there's an action, right, that will not result in growth, or it'll result in delays, or it'll result in delay of money. And when you're in business to make money. You're not in business to lose money. And when you're in business, you have to really maximize your time to be efficient. Okay. Absolutely. And so if I see anything, and because of my experience, I can see things, I can see something right now that will delay something in the future. And I have to thank God for that gift, but I can see it. I can see there's something in the structure that's broken, right, that will not be that will not help the company, or that will not help you as an individual. I can see that now. I can see the action now. So people don't understand that about me, right? And so I tend to be very, straightforward, straight to the point. This is not working. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, okay, this is not working, or what you did could be done in a better way. But that's how we grow. That's how we grow. If you have a friend, a boss, a mentor who says, Rashidi, good job, good job, good job. How's Rashidi going to grow, right? There has to be some type of, Rashidi, that was great, but listen, if you do X, Y, and Z, it could be done better, right?
Absolutely.
And Absolutely. This is why we need to have other people around us who are strong. You can't have the same people who are in the same level field as you are. You have to have people who are strong, people who are stronger, people who are stronger than that, because that's how you will grow, right?
But I think something you said that was key earlier was that you said that systems are important.
Yes.
And strategies are important.
Yes.
And I think that when you're coaching someone and you're dealing with that mindset and getting them to understand that you got to get straight to the point, I think that the strategy and the system is used as a measurement tool. And so that's what you can measure at, because you can always go back to say, are you doing what I told you to do? Did you follow plan A? Did you execute this? Did you execute that? So you always bring it back to the strategy versus feelings and emotions and the personal introduction, because if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, because what I look for is the result, right?
Okay.
What I look for is the result. So if the result is not where it needs to be, then I know there's something broken within the system and the structure.
So you're a fixer. You're a fixer, Nadia. You fix them.
I guess I'm that too, right?
No, you're a fixer. So if you're a fixer, you come in to solve the problem. And I say this to you, if this makes sense, right? Because we're tackling mindset here. Many people pull on you for a lot of things, Nadia. We could have had you talk about how to start the business and all of that. And we're going to give them the opportunity, if they want to reach out to you, that they can get that consultation. But what we wanted to deal with was the fact that you're a fixer. When 9/11 happened, right? Most people said, why would those firemen run in that building knowing that there's a possibility they wouldn't have been able to come back home?
Yes.
But what people don't understand is that they've been preparing all their life, and they've been called to pull people out of fires.
Yes, that's what they were trained for.
So because they was trained, and because that was what they was bred for, they're not looking at the fire the way the average person is. The average person is like, I'm trying to get to safety, I'm getting out of it. But they was trained to go into danger and pull people out of danger at the expense of their life. So it has cost you some sleep. It's cost you some time. It's cost you some things even for yourself. Before we bring in the next guest, can you just give us a little snippet? What do you do for self-care?
Oh, man. Thanks for asking that question, because in the past couple of months, I had to reset and regroup, right? I had to reset and regroup for Nadia mentally, you know what I mean? And self-care. So what I do for self-care, number one, is I listen to motivational speakers.
Okay.
I listen to motivational speakers, and most of the speakers that I listen to is faith-based, right? And so that keeps me grounded.
Okay. So you tune into me, Nadia? Do you tune in? Go ahead.
So number one, that keeps me really grounded, because my day-to-day is very fast, right? That keeps me grounded. There are other things that I do. I enjoy the spa, right? I enjoy dinners and a drink. Nowadays, every once a week, or probably once every 2 weeks, I won't go a month without inviting someone or saying to someone, yo, let's go get a drink. Let's go get something to eat. Just to have a drink and eat and stuff like that. If I can't do it once a week, I'm making sure that monthly I'm doing something like that. And then taking time to travel, right? Taking time to go away, even though if it's not going to the Caribbean, but I can go somewhere local, right? And spend a weekend, or do something different, go to the museum, something, just so I can and then sometimes I just like to just sit there and kick back and just have nothing to do.
That is
me.
I mean, I am so glad that you shared that you was transparent enough. And so, Nadia, don't go anywhere. We're going to have our next guest come in, and then what we're going to do is get you back. Well, listen, I hope y'all got a lot out of that. We're talking about women in business. Get your mind in set. SET. Let's get that mind in set. And so right now, I'm so excited about bringing on Roxanne Curtis Small. Roxanne, there you go. You are such an amazing individual. I never forget the first time that I met you. When I met you, you was actually in the community, sharing resources and giving opportunities. We end up finding out that we actually had a mutual understanding of the opportunity that you were sharing with people. But I saw you from across the room, and I know most people are going to see you. They're going to see that you just celebrated your 50th birthday.
Yes.
And I'm telling you right now, you wear 50 well.
Thank you, Rashidi. Thank you.
But in respect to that, I wasn't looking across the room at you as a perspective of who that and, trying to get your number, nothing like that. I was looking at the fact that you exuded an energy. You exuded such a powerful energy, and you could see that when you came into your space, you was the individual who execute.
Yes.
And I saw that trailblazer aura on you. And I said, wow, out of everybody who was there in that vicinity, at that function, you didn't have to open up your mouth to let people know you was there and you meant business.
Right.
And so you acquired a respect from across the room before anyone shook your hand or got to know who you was. So I just wanted to bring you on this platform because I truly believe that many people can talk about the different aspects of how to develop a business. And I think that there's so much out there now, but I really wanted to dive into how to get your mind in set. and I saw you. So real quickly, can you just give our audience some credibility, who you are, where you're from, and what qualifies you to speak on this topic?
Well, first off, Rashidi, thank you so much for having me, today on your platform. It's definitely an honor. I never take these things lightly because I know that it gets out to the masses and, people want information. So I just want to thank you so much for inviting me on. And I must say that was an incredible, incredible introduction. I do hope that I can live up to it.
You definitely can live up to it. Let me tell you something. Although you do have your moments where you do get the opportunity to speak, I think that I've always seen you as an action person, right? And you need to understand that. And I'm listening to you, and sometimes, it's not a false humility with you, right? Because some people have a false humility. They know they're great at something and they always want to downplay it. I don't think you have that. I think that you exuberate the fact that you stand in a place of excellence. And so let's talk about it a little bit. I wanted you to talk about, do you believe poverty plays a key in mindset?
So I want to just go back and give the listeners some credibility
Yes,
as to who I am, where I come from.
absolutely.
Certainly, I am from a Caribbean descent. My mom was from Grenada, and my dad is from Trinidad, and
Right.
they both migrated to the United States, as most families from the Caribbean do, for a better life, a better way of living for their children. And education was definitely key on that list of things. Um, I was always a reader as a kid, so I tend to read a lot. I tend to have always been, somewhat of a loner. And when I say a loner, I was always in my own world, always in my own head, always, my biggest fan, so to speak. And so reading for me played a vital role in expanding my knowledge base.
Okay.
And while I was in high school, for whatever the reason, I didn't have a desire to go to college because I had heard college career professionals come in and say, listen, you don't need to go to college to be successful. So
Okay.
I took that mindset in that, let me figure out what it is I wanted to do because I came from a dichotomous background. My mom worked in the hospital in the medical profession, and my dad was an entrepreneur. So between the two of them, I always saw my mom would come home fussing and carrying on, and she had to wear uniforms and, to work and things like that. And my dad, he would leave whenever he wanted to, always dressed sharp. And I never heard him come home complaining.
Right.
So as a kid, from that perspective, I always gravitated towards, I need to be my own boss, but I need to figure out what it is I wanted to do. Now, I love fashion. I love to look good because I believe it's part of your persona, it's part of your character.
Absolutely.
And so I always thought maybe I would go into the fashion industry. So, things change during life. And I'm like, for one, I can't draw to save my life. So I knew I wasn't going to be a designer. But
Okay.
I can see something and transform it. So I had that vision, okay, of doing certain things. So as I got older, I realized the fashion industry is a lot of work and it's not as lucrative as most people would think. So I needed to figure out a way that I was going to be an entrepreneur, but made a lot of money and made a difference. That was
Absolutely.
the key for me to make a difference. And long story short, I met my husband and we wanted to purchase a home. And I just didn't like some of the things the agent was doing. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go into real estate school and get my license and see exactly what my role is as the buyer and what the agent's role is as the representative. So I got my license and I was practicing, real estate. And what I found in the minority community is, though I wanted to help people that look like you and I
Mhm.
into home ownership and live in the American dream, there were little nuances that one, they didn't know, and two, finances always seem to play a part. And as a real estate agent, of course, if you're not always selling and listing and closing deals, guess what you're not doing? You're not getting paid.
You're not getting paid.
Okay. And at the end of the day, I still need to feed my family. I still have residual bills. So I needed to find something to complement that. So when I got introduced to the financial services industry, I said, wow, ding, 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 the lights went off. Because you're either in two positions. You're either looking for work to make money, or you have a job and you're making money, but no one has ever explained to you certain financial principles. Okay. So I was able to take my real estate clients and transition them into learning and saving and better ways to invest and different things like that. And then, eventually get them into home ownership. Okay. I'm fully licensed in financial services. I'm pursuing my financial law license by the end of the year. And, I'm living and loving what it is I do, because at the main or at the core of what it is we do, it's finances. It allows you to have options. And I know you and I have both heard people say that money isn't everything. But guess what? It's definitely up there with air.
Yes.
Okay. And it certainly allows you to have different and a variety of options.
I listen to I'm listening to you, and this is not to change the conversation, but yesterday I was doing some research, and I was doing some research because I do so many things for young people in the community. And I was looking at the fact that I found an article that told me that it cost, and I believe this is on the low totem pole, but they said it's about $460 to house an inmate on Rikers Island per inmate. About 13,000 and change per month per inmate. 165,000 plus per year. The budget for prisons is $7 billion. And so when I was telling someone that it would take maybe about $100,000 to just say thousands of young people just in the Brooklyn area, they was like, that's a lot of money. And so when I'm listening to you as you talked about the money part and talked about what money does for us, even the Bible says money answereth all things.
Right.
So that's even a biblical principle.
It is.
Now, we do understand that the heart, the character of the person, the discipline of the person can now take that resource and utilize it in a good way or a negative way.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that, because as I listen to you a little bit, you sound like you've always been a free bird. You sound like you've always been a free bird, and that's why we can't put you in the category of a chicken or a pigeon or
exactly.
I mean, you could find some of the most gorgeous birds out there, but you definitely is an eagle. So let's talk about that a little bit. Dive into the mindset a little bit after your background, because you said most people don't do that. You said after this experience with the realtor, you decided to go to real estate school.
Right. So, I've always heard people have nightmare stories when purchasing two things, a car and a home. Absolutely. And I just didn't want to be part of the statistics. Okay. Now, where most people would not have actually took the road that I did to learn exactly what the responsibilities are of both the agent and the buyer, they may have just gone out and sought a different agent. Okay. But you would still experience the same thing. So now I'm coming from a place of knowledge. I want to know. I don't want it to be hearsay. And a lot of us, we're always looking for the easy way out, but the easy way out is not always necessarily the best way out. Okay. And if you look at it, I didn't go into learning this stuff to become an agent. It just so happened that I realized in our community, there was a need for legitimate, knowledge in the purchasing of a home. Okay. Too many times when you realize a lot of people are having the same negative story, you have to kind of go to the source and figure out why is that. And a lot of real estate agents, not for anything less, but they get into the business because it's very lucrative. Okay. Absolutely. But I got into the business, one, for self-education, and in turn take that knowledge that I did acquire and share it with the masses. Okay. Because knowledge is power. Okay. And unless you apply it. So me applying it just for my own personal being, it didn't do a whole lot for the community. Okay. But now that I have that information and I can share it with the community, then the masses, the information goes out to the masses. Okay. And you don't have children right now, but guess what? When your child sees that you purchase a home for them and they come from living in a home, what do you think they're going to aspire? They're also going to aspire for home ownership.
Okay? Absolutely.
And then you start a trend. You begin to create legacy, generational wealth, just simply by doing, something as small as that, because now you have equity. Okay. And a lot of us, you know, we don't have that mindset of ownership and wanting that information. We want it always to trickle down or to be handed down. And not everything is going to come that way.
Right. And you said something powerful. You said legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw lift your leg and you will see.
Right.
So, no, seriously,
Exactly.
I'm listening to you, and you said legacy. You said wealth transfer.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke in a manner of inheritance.
Yeah.
You also spoke as I'm the leader. I'm leading this thing. Me and my husband is leading the family.
Mm-hmm.
My children look up to us. They see that there's a better way.
Right.
So now when you go around, and I know I want to dive into that a little bit, because I'm sure that, is there any frustrations? And I don't want to use the word frustration, but is there times where, you know, you just want to grab some of our folks and just shake them because you're trying to get this information over to people? And have you found yourself around individuals who are rejecting you, who are not receiving it?
Well, you know what? It's a mindset thing. And we have been so brainwashed and beaten down by certain stereotypes that we tend to, you know, repeat it. It tends to go on for generations and generations without us even being conscious of it. Okay. So first of all, it's a mindset, and people want results. They want to see, you know, we're in a generation where it's see me first before you tell me.
Okay.
Okay. So they want to see it. People are not going to gravitate towards me unless they see something in me that they themselves want. And then they want to get to know me to find out, what is it that you have? What is it that you do? Because the proof is always in the pudding. And
Absolutely.
I hate to use these different cliches, but really and truly, I'm not going to look to someone who doesn't have what I want.
Okay.
Okay. They're always going to be looking for someone who can, you know, exhibit the things, the qualities, whatever it is they have that they themselves want. Okay. So have I come across frustration? Yes, it is frustrating, because it's a matter of changing someone's mindset in a short period of time over the length of their lives. So by the time I'm ready to sit with a client, they're already, you know, 35, 40 in that age. So I'm trying to change a mindset that had been created some, you know, 30, 40 years now. Okay. In a matter of an hour's conversation, and then trying to work on that mindset. And again, I don't have a whole lot of time that I'm sitting with these people. It has to be something, you know, the mindset has to be, I'm willing to be coachable. Okay. I'm willing to do something different.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because again, coming from the financial standpoint, we've been taught to go to work, save money, spend money.
Absolutely.
Has anyone sat down with us and shared with us financial principles and ways in which we can save and invest? Imagine I sit down with an adult, 35, 40 years old, and they don't understand APRs. They don't understand compound interest. So it's, you know, trying to give them the basic at a level that they would understand in order for them to, you know, apply those principles.
And I'm sure that you actually warranted if they're willing to learn and they're open to growing. It's just that when you don't call you, get you to the table, and then fight everything you say, right?
Right.
Right. So I want to get into that a little bit with you, as far as the because you talked about the real estate piece, right? But the financial piece for you, because it's such a broad topic when people say finances, right? So what are some of the areas in finance that you work, because me and you have a mutual relationship in that, but I want you to own your story. So what area of finances that you actually help people through?
So I insist individuals with wealth creation, life insurance, college savings plan, basically getting out of debt, learning a variety of principles to help them better save and invest, because that's key. You know, a lot of us, when we sit down with the clients, at least when I sit down with clients, they have these very grandeur vision. Okay. But the vision can't become, you know, it can't come to fruition unless there's a plan in place. And sometimes that requires you to be disciplined. It requires sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And we have to learn, one of the key financial principles is paying yourself first, 10% of whatever your income is. Okay, that 10% can actually be invested for you to perhaps purchase that car, purchase that home, help your children with college, paying off college loans, student loans. But it has to start someplace. Okay.
Wow.
So it's just a mindset. And, we're in this microwave society where when you speak to people about saving and investing, they want that investment to give you a 10% return in a month, in 2 months. And you and I both know it doesn't work that way. But it's certainly better than you saving at a traditional financial institution where your rate of return is 0.001%. Okay, literally it's whatever you're putting in there is what you're going to get out, regardless to whether it's 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So
Absolutely.
just some small, some minor adjustments in the thinking and in the ways in which we do things. And I know you mentioned something about the community, and what I like to do within the communities, because I work with a lot of not-for-profit organizations, and what I see is every month, because there's something going on, in that calendar year, whether it be back to school, October breast cancer awareness month, November is Thanksgiving, December is Christmas. A lot of these not-for-profit organizations, they get funding, and all they do is give out to the communities. So it's like a handout. They don't necessarily change the thinking of the communities. So I've been, speaking to a lot of these not-for-profit organizations and have been asking them, why don't you sponsor at least 5 individuals on a monthly basis? We take them in. They simply pass a background check with us and we'll pay for them. We'll sponsor their licenses in financial services. Okay.
Absolutely.
I hate to go off on a tangent,
No,
but
no. You're not going off on a tangent. Listen, this platform was created because I was getting ready to go into, I was saying that the financial world is so broad, right? And there's different facets to it, right? There's also different levels to it, right? So everybody, you can have all these wild and grand ideas, but you have to start somewhere, right? Everybody don't start at the level that some people are at, right? If they're multimillionaires. So one thing that I heard you say, and I just wanted to put a key in it and I want to put a pin in it so everybody can catch it, was that you didn't just tell us how you offer. First of all, you didn't just tell us the mindset. You didn't just tell us that you offer these services. You also said in your speech, I can help you learn what I know.
Exactly.
So that's the part. So go ahead. Let's get you to elaborate on that, because I think that the effective thing here for you is that the mindset is not just yours. You have a system where other people can get a piece of your mindset.
Exactly. And it's not a difficult thing to do. I think we get caught up in the word finances and we see numbers and people are a little, deterred by it. But really and truly, it's an industry where we need to understand how money works. And once I learn it and I share that information with you, okay, you then take that information to the people that you know in your community, in your immediate vicinity.
Absolutely.
And it's not something where I want to harbor this information. I want to, keep it to myself and not share it. I want you to embrace that. If I sit down with a client and I share with them these financial principles, I want them to become so engrossed in the information that I've explained to them and see the simplicity in it and say to themselves, listen, I can do this. I want to learn this. Okay. I welcome those people because it's going to take more than just me to do this. Okay. And I started to say about going off on a tangent in the minority communities, usually in the Caribbean communities, you notice gentrification has, just amassed that community. And the reason, that has happened is because the community failed to pool their resources. Okay. There's not enough resources for them to come together and say, no, we're going to put our foot down against this. Okay. So imagine as a real estate agent, I'm working in a community where my people can't even afford to live in. That's a problem.
They can't live it.
They can't.
So now as listeners listen to you, you've made a line to say, I know that these things are happening, but you ain't got to stay there.
You don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay there. You can change. Learn some financial principles. Learn how to pool our resources. We have to learn to work together. Okay, financial services industry is one of the most overlooked industries, however, one of the most lucrative industries. Okay, and I'm in a position where if you decided, listen, I want to learn this information, we'll sponsor you. We'll sponsor you to, all you have to do is come with a willing, coachable mindset to learn these financial principles. It's not difficult.
Wow. It's not, listen to what you said. It's not difficult. So when you say sponsorship, you're saying, listen, humble yourself.
Yes.
Come listen, get in touch with Roxanne and don't just admire her from afar, because Roxanne is who she is, meaning she's a fighter. You know, like they said, right? Some people gonna die in the valley, some people gonna die on their way into the wilderness, and some people gonna die on the side of the mountain, and some people gonna reach the top. And you look like you going to the top.
And you mentioned, this piece, this segment that you're doing is on mindset. And you mentioned earlier in my introduction that when you saw me, I didn't have to speak. It was my presentation. And I'll be very honest with you. When I'm in a room, I don't even look at people. I'm on a mission. And my mission while I'm out and about in communities or at events is to reach as many people as I possibly can and share with them what it is I do, to change their mindset. I can't worry when I go into a room who's thinking this and who has that to say. No, my mission is I need to get, 100, 1,000 of me in place so we can lock arms, okay, and join this movement of becoming financially literate.
Well,
okay?
listen.
We like that.
Well, listen, I'm excited because I locked arms with you, right? So outside of this segment and this broadcast, I'm a part of what you're doing, and I've opened myself up to be coached and to know that I don't know it all, and open myself up to that. So we get to have different conversations, not the average conversations, because of that enlightenment. So what I want to do right now before we close up is I want to bring Nadia back into the conversation, and I just want to give you an opportunity to just share your heart with our viewers. Nadia, welcome back. Welcome back, Nadia. Nadia, this segment is so powerful. I got you and Roxanne on the same platform. We do know that there's so much to you ladies that we haven't even been able to dive in today. And I'm hoping that we can do some segments in the future and be specific about those segments, right? But I want to give you both the opportunity, especially you, Nadia, and then Roxanne, to, first of all, I want to ask you a question. What would you say to the younger you at this point now, with all the knowledge you have, the experience? What would you say to your younger you? I think, Nadia, we got to get your sound back on.
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's okay.
Roxanne, I enjoyed everything that you've said, because I 100%, 1,000% agree with the financial literacy and getting our people in this financial mindset,
Thank you. Thank you. Same here. Same here.
Rashidi, okay, yes. I would say to the younger Nadia, you are dope. You are,
okay.
Right? You are dope. I would say to the younger Nadia that you can strive to be anything that you want to be. You don't have to second guess yourself all the time. You are great. You are wonderful. And also, there's a lot of things, now that I'm a full-time entrepreneur, like Roxanne said, she looked at her mom and her dad and she says, wait a minute. If I could have done this out of college, if I knew better, if I knew the things that I knew now, yes, I would tell the younger Nadia, right? But I also appreciate my experience in my journey in corporate America, because it has taught me a lot of what I'm doing, how to run a business, but I would have told the younger Nadia, while you getting your experience at corporate, do this on the side. Start building, right? Start building. But I always say maybe it wasn't my time at that time, but there's a lot of things, financial literate things, that I wished I knew as my younger 18-year-old, 19-year-old self. I would have probably been an entrepreneur much earlier.
Right. How can people get in touch with you, Nadia?
Oh, absolutely. So to get in touch with me, just text this number Okay. And once you text this number, you'll get a link so you can get a free 15-minute consultation. Remember, it's 15 minutes, so be focused.
That elevator pitch.
But you'll get a lot of value out of it. So text this number 718-218-5842, 718-218-5842, and we will send you a link to set up some time with me at Maroon Strategist.
Right. So Nadia, Maroon Strategist stretches beyond the 5 boroughs of New York City?
Yes, absolutely. We're international at this point.
Absolutely. Wow, international. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So Nadia, you know, don't go anywhere. But Roxanne, just what would you tell the younger version of you at this point with the information you have, and how can people get in touch with you?
So, like Nadia said, I do appreciate the experience that I've had in my youth. And back in, I want to say 1989 was my first step into corporate America. And I had a vice president who I was working with who encouraged me to go on to insurance school. And I was pig-headed. I was like, listen, I'm going into fashion industry. So if there was one thing that I could have changed, I probably would have listened to him back then, because I probably would have been further along in life and in my career. But outside of that, I don't know that there was anything else, because I think everything happens for a reason, and there's certain experiences you needed to have in order to propel you to where you are. I do know that in my adult life right now, I am learning not to take things so personal. Right. But that would probably be it. And as far as the listening audience to reach out to me, they can text me at 908-628-9600. And if they text HAVTV, which is the segment, they can certainly get me live to return a call and share some information with them. My email is rcsmall811@gmail.com. And my website is www.primerica.com/8 Frank Sam Lewis Victor. Thank you so much for allowing me this platform to speak and share so passionately about what I have, an interest in my community for.
Wow, that was an amazing closing. I just want to say to both of you women and to all the listeners that this was a platform to highlight women in business. But I want to let everybody know that if you listen to these two ladies, they didn't limit anything to color. They didn't limit anything to culture. They didn't limit anything to male or female. They said everybody has an opportunity to learn this information. Yeah. And so it's going to be left up to you, the viewer, to take time out of your busy schedule, because you could be busy doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Right? But it's going to take you to take time out of your busy schedule and make sure that as these women continue to pull other people to rise, you got to understand something. They've already risen. And because they've risen, they're pulling other people up.
Yeah.
Just don't be the one that get left behind. We are so excited once again. This is HACTV, the Haitian American Caucus platform. And this segment was sponsored by Verizon. And we look forward to you, the viewers and the listeners, to constantly tune in for the new perspective and new information that we will be rolling out. Thank you so much. You take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again on another segment.